What is up? What is up? What's up, everybody? I have got just an incredible guest today, Nick Niehaus. Welcome to, I don't even know what I'm calling this. Welcome to my live stream.
There you go.
That's
it.
an easy way to put it. Nick, we are here because we're putting on a really cool conference, and in about what 2.5 weeks. And I met you through just being asked to do this event together by a mutual friend of ours. And it's really cool because you and I both focus on video, but we teach people how to do it from different perspectives. And so I'm learning a lot about video from watching you guys and what y'all do from Video Business School. And I just thought, man, we should jump on here, give people some tips and tricks about video, and then we'll pepper in why the Virtual Handshake Conference is going to blow their minds on June 8th and 9th. So let's just start here. Why is it the middle of 2021 and there are still realtors that refuse to do video?
Man, because they're nuts, I guess. I don't know what it is, but it's funny. I think one of the things that we really try to emphasize when we're talking about video with people is just the fact that video is a form of communication, right? It's just a new way that we talk to each other as human beings.
Yeah.
And I think if you understand it that way, and if agents were embracing that aspect of it, there wouldn't be anybody left that was saying, like, I'm not going to use video, right? Because it's sort of like, how do you, it would be like refusing to ever accept an email, right? Like, there are a few people in the world who probably don't have email accounts at this point, but it's kind of hard to be in business without an email account, right? And I think that we'll see video get to that point eventually. Now, why are people still resisting it? I mean, I think it's because the pain of not doing it has not yet outweighed the pain of doing it. And unfortunately, when it comes to video, those first few videos are pretty painful, right? I mean, the first few times you get on camera, it's intimidating, it's scary, right? So I think when we see that tip, and I think it's starting to tip already. I think we're starting to see a lot of people saying, maybe before the pandemic, they would have said, hey, I'm never doing this. I'm not a video person. I used to get that a lot. Like, you're a video person. I'm like, what does that mean? I'm a human being and I sit in front of a camera and talk to it.
It's probably because you're beautiful, right?
It's because I'm beautiful, meant for being on camera. Yeah, of course. Right. I'll take that. That's a dude. Yeah. But I think that's what it comes down to. I think here's what's going to take, right? It's going to take some of these agents who are saying, I'm not going to do this. It's going to take them losing business to someone who is doing it, and then it will be obvious, right? The downside is if you wait until that point, if you're watching this and you're one of these people, at that point, it's probably close to too late. I don't think it's ever really too late, but you got to imagine that person that's taking that business out of your pocket, they've been doing this for a couple of years now. They're good at it, right? And then you're scrambling to try to catch up when you finally admit that it's going to cause you a problem. You're going to have to work twice as hard at that point to catch up. So I think, you got to keep that in mind, but that's the risk you're running here.
So talk us through, because you and a couple of partners, y'all run Video Business School. And so when you have not a new agent in the business, but a new agent in terms of video,
right?
What are the first couple things that you try to kind of hold their hand through to kind of ease them into the discomfort that comes from doing video?
Right. Well, I think the first thing that we always emphasize is just the way that you learn something. I think that as adults, this is a universal problem. This isn't just video.
Okay.
But as adults, we have a tendency to look at other people who are already good at something, right? So it'd be kind of like looking at a professional basketball player and then saying, I want to do that exact thing, and I'm going to figure out how to do it in the next few weeks. And it's crazy, right? Like, if you look at like LeBron, you're like, I'm going to learn to play basketball like that in the next month. It's like, no, you're not going. You're probably never going to learn how to play basketball like that, but you're definitely not going to do it in the next month. And for some reason, as adults, like we neglect that learning process, right? And in fact, we're actually worse at learning as adults than we were as kids, and yet we try to skip all the steps as an adult. And so that's the first thing we address is we sort of say, look, you might be seeing people who are making these YouTube videos and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars in commission income from YouTube, which is incredible. And you want that same thing, but that's not where you should start, right? You're not going to be able to do that on day one. And that is, I think, where a lot of people stumble really hard, is they try to imitate people that have a ton more experience and they fall flat on their face. So this is a long way of getting back to the point of, we just teach them how to make the most basic possible video with their phone, which is this, right? It's just a selfie style video, no editing, absolutely no polish whatsoever. And the form of video that we really emphasize people start with is one-to-one video messages, right? So you're only talking to one person. There's no editing required. There's no complexity whatsoever. And the pressure is as low as you can possibly get it. And the other benefit of this is, especially in real estate, it's also going to give you the fastest ROI, because you can literally just reach out to people you already know with a video, which they think is cool because they've never seen it before, and then ask them for business and they'll give it to you, right? So like that's where we really like to start people.
So, okay. So guys, for those of you watching live, for sure do it. If you're watching the replay, you can do it if you want to, but it won't matter because Nick and I aren't really here. You're watching the replay. But if you're doing video, tell us in the comments, how are you using video? If you're not doing video, tell us why. Be honest with yourself to just put it in the comments. Why aren't you doing it? And while you guys are doing that, Nick, I want to follow up with that personal one-to-one selfie video. Like, what does that messaging look like? So if they're reaching out directly asking for business, obviously you guys are experts. And so there's ways to use your words that are better than other ways. And so are there certain words or phrases that you teach people to avoid in that type of video? Like what does that look like?
Right. Well, I think, what's interesting here is that there's two aspects to these video messages that's really powerful. One is that video is a better, more effective form of communication. So if I watch a video of you asking me for my business, I'm going to understand what you're asking for better. I'm going to understand the emotion behind it. I'm going to feel like I'm having a conversation with you. So right off the bat, like that's a really powerful aspect of these messages. But the other aspect of it is that people just simply aren't getting many video messages yet, right? This will become a normal thing. We're getting closer to that being the case. But for now, it's still pretty novel. So when I see a video message, especially if it's personalized, like one tip is, write their name on a whiteboard and sort of hold it up and then wave at them when the video is starting, right? Because that gets it shows them that the video is personalized even before they click on it. Like that kind of stuff is great, but it's because it's novel, they're more likely to open it, right? So what that means, and so that's kind of the context of it. So what I'm getting at is that in some ways, it doesn't matter what you say, right? In the next 6 months, the next year or so, if you just send a video, like you'll probably get some results, even if it's just like, hey, somebody wants to sell their house? Let me know. Like that'll work. I mean, it's crazy, right? Now that being said, I do have an actual answer. There are some tips here. Number one is, I think if you're going to be asking for business, frame it as asking for help, right? Ask for, hey, can you do me a favor? Hey, can you help me out with something? One aspect of human psychology is that we like to help people. It actually makes us, it's a sort of ironic, but if you ask someone, one of the most effective ways to get someone to like you more is to ask them for a favor, right? So you would think of the other way around, like offer to do someone a favor, but actually you will get people to like you more if you ask, and it usually start with a small favor, right? So like try the next time you're at like an event, like ask, there's a napkin on the other side of a person, instead of walking around and grab it, say, hey, excuse me, can you do me a quick favor and grab that napkin? They will automatically like you more because they've now done a little favor for you. So that's one thing you can work into it. Another is to make it about someone other than yourself, right? So we had a student who sent a message, and she picked up 2 listings after sending just 75 video text messages in just a matter of a couple hours, right? So the return on that time invested was pretty amazing. And one of the things she did in her message that was so powerful is she talked about needing listings, not for her and her business, but for the buyers who are having such a hard time finding houses, right? So it makes the recipient gets to be the hero, right? I mean, think about how powerful that is. It's hey, if I sell my house, I'm helping someone in need, and so included the selfish aspect of, hey, you're going to probably get the most for your house that you're ever going to see right now because of the demand. So there's sort of both components, but that really disarms people, right? If you can make them feel like they're doing somebody else. So it's, again, that favor thing, right? So it's kind of a double whammy of the favor impact. But that's just a couple small tips. But again, I really encourage people, don't overthink this. Just send the messages. You can say almost anything. You could hold up a sign that says, "You're thinking about selling your house," and you will get probably a couple responses, right? So keep it simple, but that's a couple things you can consider.
I love it. And Brian Bolger over on LinkedIn. That's right, guys. If you didn't know it, you can go live on LinkedIn if you're approved, if you're cool enough, if they accept you into their club. And so Brian says that he's using video to explain why he got into the business, right? Storytelling, help people understand your why, share software apps and tips, and then sharing a customer story, right? It's all three of those things are incredible opportunities. And, guys, I'd love to just reiterate what number 2 is for Brian. Guys, the power of sharing apps, right? I talk about books a lot. Like I'll pick up a book from my desk and talk. The power, guys, of this is if I talk about this book, right? Success 101 by John Maxwell. Nick, if you go buy this book today and you read it and it leaves a lasting impact in your life, every time you see it, you're going to think about me.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with my business. But sometimes we just got to remember that at the end of the day, we're people.
Right. Right.
And so if there's not a humanizing aspect to what we're doing, man, this is going to be really hard. And this is why, right? This is a great transition that I didn't even plan into talking about the Virtual Handshake Conference.
Perfect.
Because as well as I do, that no one anymore, right? 10 years ago, if somebody said, "Dude, Nick Niehaus is the greatest video guy on the planet, you need to call him." 10 years ago, that person's literally picking up the phone and calling you.
Right.
Now, they're going, "Okay, sure." And they're going to go Google you. They're going to go look you up on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. And now at that point, my opinion of you is no longer even relevant.
Right.
It's solely based on, do you look like an idiot online, or do you look like the expert that genuinely cares about people and wants to help and can help? And so this is why our virtual handshake is so valuable, because people are trying to shake our hands virtually every day that we're completely unaware of. And so what are you looking forward to most about being a part of this and what it's going to do for the people that show up?
So the thing, I think is going to be the most impactful aspect, at least for me, is this idea of basically working with the audience you have, versus I think a lot of people, when they think about, we've been talking about social media for so long, and for so long the message has kind of been grow your following, right? You got to have a following, you got to have all these people who are followers of your page or your account or all that kind of stuff. And obviously you need a following, you got to have people to talk to. But one of the things I think we're going to be touching on quite a bit here is how to get more from your existing following, right? So I mean, we all have these relationships, exactly what you're talking about, right? It's like we've got hundreds. Like the lowest amount of connections I've seen an agent ever have is probably 150 on Facebook, and that's like no Facebook friends, right? I mean, that's a tiny number for most people, but it's still 150 people that you can engage with multiple times every single day, as long as you're making the effort to do so. And that doesn't even mean you have to be the one sharing all the content. It might mean you're commenting on their posts. It could mean you're sharing their stuff, right? And so I think that, to me, is one thing that I know is going to come up multiple times during this event, and that all of us really sort of focus on and believe in, is how do you maximize the existing relationships? Because I think way too many people are getting distracted by trying to start new ones with total strangers, and yet have not gotten what they can out of what they already have, right? So to me, that's one thing I'm really looking forward to.
So Nick, do I hear you saying that realtors don't need to try to be influencers on Instagram and like have 100,000 followers?
I mean, unless that's like really fun to you, if that sounds like a blast, then go for it. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, you don't need 100,000 followers to do millions and millions of dollars worth of business. It just doesn't work that way.
Isn't it wild? I was teaching a class a few months back. Actually, that's not true. This class was literally like 2 years ago. And a realtor, right? Her question to me was, how do I get more followers on social media? And depending on my mood every day, depends on how I answer questions to people. And for whatever reason that day, I wasn't in the mood to just tell her. And so I asked her, I said, ma'am, if you don't mind me asking, like, how many houses do you want to sell this year? She said 17. And I said, great. Where do you live? And she lives in Frisco, Texas. I said, awesome. How many people live in Frisco? And she said, I think it's about 200,000. And bro, I just looked at her and was like, so you're telling me you want to sell 17 houses this year? You live in a city with 200,000 people, and yet you're asking me how to get new followers? What are we doing? Here's my last question to you. How have we allowed realtors to be convinced that the answer to their problem is new when we know as the experts it's not?
Yeah.
Like, where is that way of thinking come from? Because it's not coming from us.
Right.
So where are they hearing that sort of message that's allowing them to be convinced that that's what they need to be doing?
I think it's a combination of things. I do think so. One thing I found interesting is, like, I haven't always. I'm not a real estate agent, right? I don't have a background as an agent. I never worked in the industry. I've been working with agents for about 5 years now, and so I went through the experience of sort of getting into selling to real estate agents for the first time without any existing relationships, which was we'll just say it was a little bit awkward for the first few months of trying to break in. And the thing that I understand now is not that, I was necessarily getting a cold shoulder from these people. It was more just that they were wary because they get bombarded with new stuff all the time, right? I mean, real estate, it's similar to other industries, sort of like insurance or, obviously mortgage, things like that. But it is fairly unique in the sense that you have this entire industry full of independent salespeople, right? The whole industry is just these sort of totally independent, almost, their own little businesses in many ways, right? And so I think that there is a unique angle in real estate that there just are a lot of tools. There's a lot of people that come up with ideas and they have a little bit of budget behind it. So they're running ads and they're doing aggressive sales calls. And so there's that part, right? So I do think they do just get sort of bombarded with a constant stream of, hey, here's the latest thing, the latest way to generate leads, the latest tool. That being said, it's also just sort of a human nature tendency type of thing to say, I'm unsuccessful because I don't yet understand how to do the really complex thing that will make me successful, right? Because I think that, I don't know why, but for some reason we feel more comfortable admitting that failure than we do to say, I'm overcomplicating things, right? That is what's happening though. I would say 99% of the time, and we do a lot of one-on-one to some degree one-on-one coaching with some of our students in our fast track program at this point. And even for them, it comes up a lot where it's just sort of like, what should I be doing? And they have all these different ideas. And a lot of times it's more about stripping things out and saying, no, don't do that yet. Don't do that yet. Just do this one thing and do it over and over and over again. And honestly, I think Kyle, this is where you might be able to provide some real value here, because what you're doing with podcasting and with recurring content, right? I think that becomes a way to think about this. People, even if they're not doing a podcast or even if they're not doing a show, they should be thinking about the content they're making as if it's a series, because then you will come back and you'll do it over and over again, and you're using the same patterns, you're using the same habits, you're developing your skills in those areas, and that allows you to build a following over time. But I'll say that is not just real estate, right? I mean, there was a post in one of these groups that I commented on. It was about, like, what's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful? And that's a very loaded question, obviously. But I was like, to me, it's patience. Like, that's the thing I see all the time is it's literally just patience. You get hard work and discipline and all this, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of ways it's just if you're the person that just keeps doing the thing over and over and over again, even when it's not yet working before, and everybody else quits because they tried it 3 times and they didn't get an ROI yet. that's the person that wins. Like everybody I know that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars on YouTube, they made a video every day for a year and no one ever responded to it, you know?
Yep.
That takes, obviously it's dedication, but a lot of it is just you let go of the results. You don't worry about the results in the short term.
Good.
And then you just stay committed and you get there, right? So I don't know. I mean, it's I think it goes outside of real estate, but there's a shiny object syndrome thing that definitely gets a lot of people.
So guys, most of you watching this, you're watching this because you're my people. So don't sign up for this conference because I'm speaking at it. You get me all the time, right? And that's either a good or a bad thing. I don't know how much you guys like me, but show up because we've got guys like Nick that are just brilliant in a specific area that, guess what, you most likely suck at. We've got other men and women that are gifted at other areas, YouTube, podcasting, ads, right? Content across the board. Guys, this is going to be an unbelievable conference with speakers from around the country that get paid thousands and thousands of dollars to open their mouth from a stage. And you're paying $47 to get all of it for 2 days? So come on, guys. Go to virtualhandshakeconference.com. Get signed up. It's coming up June 8th and 9th. It'll be all through Zoom. The replay will be available for those of you that choose to purchase a ticket. And I just can't wait, Nick. I'm pumped about it. And I think there's going to be some real knowledge bombs dropped from the stage.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we've got this is a lineup, a lot of people that, like you said, we're getting to know each other through this event. And I think that just goes to show the quality of the lineup that we put together. You know, we're really aiming to bring together people that have some shared expertise. Obviously, we have a common theme here. But I really love the aspect that there are some really different aspects, there are different approaches here, right? Because I think there are going to be certain people that sort of gravitate to one versus the other. And this is going to give you probably at least 3 or so different approaches that'll all accomplish the same thing, which is to build relationships with people through the internet that eventually turn into actual business. And you can do it 100% online now, right? I mean, this is the kind of thing where in our business, I mean, I still, and I look forward to the day where I can meet some of our students in person, but I don't think I've met more than 2 or 3 of our students in person ever, right? And so you can do all of this through the internet at this point. Which is, I think, what we're going to be ultimately teaching people here, which is good stuff. So.
It's incredible. So, guys, don't be stupid. Go sign up, right? Like, go be a part of this. It's going to be unbelievable. And I'll just tell you right now, this is not a conference thing. If you go buy a ticket and you find no value in it, I'll personally pay you back. All right? I will make that commitment live on video with Nick. He heard it. He's making a weird face. It's like, why would you say that to people?
That's impressive.
Guys, that's how much I believe in what we're doing. It will not fail you. And so, Nick, thanks for hanging out with me, man. I really appreciate it. It's going to be a lot of fun, June 8th and 9th. So, guys, go get signed up. If you have questions, put them in the comments. Reach out to us personally. And y'all go have a great holiday weekend.
Oh, yeah.
See ya.